Alrighty, so here we got actress, writer. Apparently, she says on her Facebook page, Michelle Rodriguez. She has some statements she made the other night that came off to be offensive to some. She did correct or elucidate her point better in another video, but I'll play both clips of what she originally said and then what she said to try and clean it up. Now, I guess possibly she was a little white girl wasted, so maybe that's why she came off the way she came off. I agree with the premise of what she was saying, just not with everything she said. And I'll break that down. Now, she threw up the air quotes about minorities, so I don't know how she identifies herself. Sergeant Willie Pete and Cap talk about the white woman dipped in chocolate or the black woman dipped in vanilla. I guess she's the white woman dipped in Corolla. I don't know. But we're going to talk about Miss Michelle Rodriguez's statement.
The Green Lantern?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's so stupid for like everybody because of this whole like minorities in Hollywood thing. Like,
Well, it's been all over the internet,
but it's
though.
so stupid. It's like stop stealing, all the white people's superheroes. Like make up your own. You know what I'm saying? Like what's up with that?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Alright, so the major issue I have with what she said I don't agree with is the narrative that the roles are being stole. Nobody's stealing the roles. Whoever the black dude's about to play Torch in the next Fantastic Four movies, he didn't steal a role. He was given the role. Obviously, Hollywood picks and chooses when they want to be politically correct. Or, I guess this is the new thing now because they're not coming up with any new creative content. The idea is to just switch out sexuality, switch out genders, switch out race to reinvent movies. Or, I don't know, maybe they're trying to propagate narratives. If you look at it, I think now that Disney owns, I think they own Marvel now, Thor in the comic books is now a girl. I was on The Verge the other day about that conversation, which The Verge is a tech review site where they talk about, comics, a bunch of nerdy stuff, but they're really leftist in ideology. Half the articles, when you want to go there to talk about tech and see what's new, you get that, but you also get a bunch of feminist nonsense, and that will go along to the video. The type of men that feminists create. All these dudes sit here all day is to defend this nonsense and want to post feminist articles, but that's The Verge for you. But so yeah, Thor's a girl. I think just the other day they said that Catwoman is now bisexual. I think in the comic books they're trying to make, or he is, make Spider-Man a gay Puerto Rican. So all that's going on right now, and I again, one part of it is I understand it's a marketing strategy. Another element is that it's simply uh, a way to propagate certain narratives and ideas into the culture. So it is what it is. But she said that the ideas were stolen. I mean, the roles are being stolen. I don't agree with that narrative. They're not being stolen. Hollywood is picking and choosing when they want to do that, I guess, to mix it up. I think even also the new Ghostbusters movies is with a bunch of chicks now. Like, come on. I think the new Terminator has a female Terminator. I mean, I don't know, not female Terminator, but a female main character. I don't know if she's John Connor or what. I don't know what they're doing with that, but it looks like they're going a different route with the Terminator movies as well. So this is what Hollywood is doing right now. I guess to make up for the fact that they have no new ideas and they keep regurgitating the same bullcrap over and over again. And I guess again by changing genders and race and sexual orientations, that's supposed to make up for their lack of creativity. I commented on that The Verge. One of my comments was, how is this empowering when it came to the situation about, I think, Thor? Or they were talking, I don't know. I asked the question, though, it's like, how is this empowering? Like, going to someone else who had the idea, built it, created it, and put it out there, and begging them for opportunities, that's not empowering. Like, and this doesn't just apply to women or feminists. This applies to everybody across the board. It applies to Christians who are upset that Hollywood makes movies that take biblical stories and they completely, flip them upside down and make them what they want to be about. Like, that goes to you. That goes to blacks who continuously let whites tell their stories and they depict them inaccurately and wrong. You know, it goes to anybody, and it goes to feminists who think that they deserve parity or fairness and all this other nonsense without doing the heavy lift. And that was what my comment was. Is like, you know, that's not empowering. You know, changing the character of a comic book that people have been reading for over 30, 40 years to a woman. Like, that's not empowering. That's kind of like, you kind of feel sorry for that person. Like, that's kind of pathetic that you feel like that's a win for you, for women. The fact that, you know, Disney in their political correctness, trying to propagate certain narratives, put out this image of, you know, women that got Thor, the female goddess now. I think, for example, Oprah, as much as I don't agree with her ideologies, she's an example of someone that's empowering, meaning she started her own brand, built her own empire. Granted, some people question how she got there and what she did to get to that, but we don't know that. We do see the outside results of that. She has her own brand. She's the first female billionaire. That's empowering to me. This idea of begging other people for opportunities who have done the hard work and the heavy lifting is not empowering. And that's pretty much what I put on that comment section, and all these little white knights going in on The Verge, which is, again, it's retarded that they're a popular site for tech news and geek stuff, but they just got so much, you know, leftist ideology encrusted in their work that it's just hard to even give them any attention. Now, I don't agree with the narrative that people are stealing those roles. I think Hollywood picks and chooses when they want to do that. Now, I do understand how people who have the victimization mentality, people who feel like, you know, they just can't do on their own, because Silicon Valley, Hollywood promote this idea of diversity and whatnot, you know, and they believe in that bull. I feel like I understand why the people who share that worldview feel the need to beg them for opportunities and outcomes or whatever, because if Hollywood's saying, you know, when it comes to politics and whatnot, that there's for this and for that, but when it comes to looking at the numbers and looking at what they produce, and you're like, well, wait a minute, you say you're for this, for that, but when we look at your entire body of work, it seems like you're not. I can understand why the people who eat all that up and buy into all that feel some type of way when they see that it's not true. I'll say, like, the Oscars, that's the one time you can say blacks and conservatives both feel disenfranchised because they're left out. You saw The American Sniper made $300 million, and all 6 of the movies that were actually nominated made $600 million. And I'm not, just because the movie makes money doesn't mean it should automatically win, obviously, but the movie was good. Yeah, obviously there was clearly a bias against American Sniper. You had a lot of directors, Michael Moore and other news pundits going in on the movie, making, you know, saying this dumb stuff like, you know, snipers are cowards and whatnot, and I'm like, whatever, but, you know, Clint Eastwood directed it. He's not favorable in Hollywood, obviously, and you know there's a clear bias for the fact that, you know, The Hurt Locker, a similar type of movie, got awards and accolades in Hollywood. Lone Survivor, which I'm not really feeling Marky Mark in some of those roles like that. Like, he shouldn't have been the lead dude. And I like the movie, but I'm saying, like, Hollywood gave that movie a pass as well. And that whole mountain scene, falling down, getting shot up, that was so dramatic and unrealistic that, you know, it took away from the film. That's one of the things I like about American Sniper, was there was no over-the-top ridiculousness. But however, you know, the Hollywood crowd gave that movie a pass, Lone Survivor. And Zero Dark Thirty had controversy with it, and that was about torture and all that. But I guess because they made the movie seem like the female CIA analyst was the one who was the hero, you know, that's probably why he got a pass, not the dude who was actually doing the torturing and got the information. But they kind of gave that movie a pass. I think the husband and wife said they did get some backlash for doing that movie, but it didn't get the criticism, the fake criticism that American Sniper got. And I also know it's a different conversation. I'll talk about it, but, you know, black people hopping on the bandwagon trying to throw shade at the movie even after they liked it and watched and enjoyed it. I'll just say that I know 100% that the majority of people who are hating on the movie that are not, pundits on TV, the average person who, all of a sudden, American Sniper's propaganda and yada yada yada. I'm like, all war movies are propaganda. Slow down. But if Chris Kyle was black, it would be a hell of a lot more support from the same people who are criticizing the movie. Hands down, I believe that to be 100% true. But that's a different conversation. But it's clearly you see a bias in Hollywood when it comes to giving opportunities and access and whatnot to people who have different views and ideas. They lack it there. And I agree, this is where I agree with Michelle, is that people, minorities, whether it be the religious right, conservatives, blacks, Latinos, Asians, whatever, they're minorities in Hollywood. They need to start creating their own content and stop expecting or demanding of Hollywood to give you access, and because that's not empowering. Again, that's just begging, and that's annoying. Also, I think because Hollywood is running out of ideas, I think it would be, bring new perspectives and ideas, that because people are tired of seeing the same stuff over and over again. How many times have we seen remakes in our lifetime? Like normally a remake, something came out in the 70s and boom, it came out again in the 2000s. Now you got movies being remade not even 5 years apart from each other. Like The Hulk has been remade, like gonna be remade, I think, no, it's for the second and third time. Like that's ridiculous. Superman remade twice already. Well, overall since it came out, 4 times possibly. But I'm just saying, stuff like that, I think people are tired of that nonsense. So, maybe other groups go over there, band together, and do their thing, and put out some new ideas, some new content. Now, Michelle did, I guess, try to clarify and clean up what she stated, and put it, maybe she sobered up. I don't know if she was drunk or not, but she did a little stumble walking up that curb. I just assumed she was white girl wasted, but she does try to elucidate her points better in this little clip where she's laying on the bed talking in some magical circle terms of the fountain, the youth, or whatever. And I don't know, but I'm gonna play what she said and then expound more on that.
Hey guys, I want to clarify about my comment yesterday. I stuck my foot in my mouth once again, and I said that people should stop trying to steal white people's superheroes. And I guess it got taken out of context because a lot of people got offended or whatever. But like, I have a tendency to speak without a filter. Sorry about that. What I really meant was that, ultimately at the end of the day, there's a language. And the language that you speak in Hollywood is successful franchise. And I think that there are many cultures in Hollywood that are not white that can come up with their own mythology. And we all get it from the same reservoir of life, the fountain of life. And it doesn't matter what culture you come from. I'm just saying that instead of trying to turn a girl character into a guy, or instead of trying to turn a white character into a black character or Latin character, I think that people should stop being lazy, and that people should actually make an effort in Hollywood to develop their own mythology. And you know what? If being American is your mythology, and the American culture is deep embedded into who you are and what makes you, or the archetype that you're trying to portray in a Hollywood feature or in a comic book, so be that. But I'm just saying that the different cultures from around the world that are in Hollywood, Latin, black, Asian, so on and so forth, considered minorities because there aren't a lot of writers representing them, they should start focusing on making that, a serious priority. It's not about taking, Catwoman or Superman or Green Lantern or, whatever these characters are, and trying to make them fit to whatever, cultural background you are. It's I just feel like it should be more creative than that. And I think that people need to stop being lazy. And that's what I meant by my comment. And I'm taking it to heart as well. And I'm considering this while I am out there coming up with projects to do and things to write. So I just think that, that it's time to stop trying to, take what's already there and try to fit a culture into it. I think that it's time for us to write our own mythology and our own story, every culture. So that's what I really meant, and I'm sorry if it came off, rude or stupid. It's not what I meant. So,
Um, just to clear a point though, I do think that movies like Exor's God of Among Us, Johnny Depp playing, the Indian in the movie he did that was horrible, stuff like that. Like I think that's intellectually dishonest and stupid, and there's enough actors to replace them. Even though I understand, the concept of the funding, and if like the director said, if I cast Muhammad so and so, whatever, I get all that. But I'm personally not gonna give my money to movies like that. But I don't dictate that Hollywood should give those roles to other people because, again, the point stems from if you create the content, if you write it, direct it, produce it, and fund it, you can do whatever the hell you want to do with it. And that's the point, that more minorities, so to speak, blacks, Hispanics, need to do that. They need to go out there and write and produce things. And the reality is the funding possibly won't come, so you have to find alternative routes. There was a debate between Dr. Boyce Watkins and Ebony and Miss Tia Brown, I guess her name is. She's like a Essence magazine editor, feminist. And I'm going to do a video on her because what she said to him, which is annoying as hell, and it also illustrates why men can't be female allies. But in that conversation, Boyce was pretty much telling her that, yes, blacks should not expect to get the box office numbers and expect to, need the funding from certain groups in order to get their products greenlit. And the reality is like you can't expect to get those numbers and make that a money because you won't get the same promotion and validation. Like that's just realistic. And she's on some kumbaya, like why can't, the black person tell their stories and make the same money? Obviously she doesn't know how the world works, but I agree with his point that you're not going to make that type of money. Like for example, if you look at movies like, the Blair Witch Project cost under $100 grand to make, made millions of dollars, which was a trash movie. The first Saw I defend to this day. I'm a fan of the first Saw movie. Not a fan of any of the other ones, but the first Saw movie, I think he said that movie cost 250 grand, and it turned into, like 20 movies later, made box office hits, but the movies didn't use a bunch of big name actors. At least I didn't know who any of the people were in the first movie. What I'm saying, like stuff like that, like that's how you start and you finish. So, if you're looking at, the numbers that like American Sniper put out, or like a big blockbuster Spider-Man, you're not going to be able to do that. Like that's just something that needs to be understood off the bat. You're not going to make the type of bread that these movies that are, that have the validation are making. Off the bat, you have to comprehend that. So, but you can start small, like I said, like the Blair Witch Projects, like the, Paranormal Activities, another movie that was horrible, trash, and didn't cost $100,000 to make, and there's like 5 movies of that now, and they make blockbuster type money now. So that's something that doesn't need to be recognized though. You cannot expect to have parity in numbers as far as the money goes into these movies when you start creating your own content. And if that's why some, and that was a debate between Viola Davis and her saying, I think Boyce doesn't understand how showbiz works. However, I think Miss Tia Brown has an illusion of thinking she's going to get parity with the white movies when we're only 14% of the population, and our movies, with black cast and black actors don't do well overseas and whatnot. So I think she's delusional and she's annoying as fudge feminist, and I'm going to do a video about her and him in that conversation they had. But that's it. I agree with Michelle Rodriguez as far as all the so-called minorities need to go write their own content, make their own movies, understanding that no, you will not have parity and make the same amount of money as the other films off the bat. You got to start somewhere though. I don't think the comparison of taking fictional characters and making them black is the same as Hollywood taking, a bunch of white dudes and putting them in Egypt, saying the Prince of Persia or the Prince of, or Moses or whatever. Like, that's not the same thing. That's just stupid. And I think that you can mix and match his fake characters, but I think the way that Hollywood is doing it is, is kind of stupid. Like, to have 10, this person play this and just automatically switch them to black. It just doesn't make any sense to me with certain characters. Again, I understood it with Daredevil and Kingpin. Michael Clark Duncan acting skills was on par. His, size and stature made it work. But there's a million other examples where it doesn't work and it doesn't make sense. Like I said, some people talking about, well, let's make Shaft white in a movie and see how that turns out. I'm like, that's not a real comparison. Like, again, fictional characters, I think different rules apply. But no, I don't support the bandwagon of people saying, let's make Aldrich Elba Bond or whatever. Like, no, go write another Bond story, your own version of it or whatever, and get it greenlit and get it to sell. I'm telling you, people want new ideas. They want, Hollywood doesn't take risk at all, and I think it's time that that will be marketable to take those risks. And again, if you don't tell your own stories, if you don't write them, fund them, whatever, you can't demand other people do the way you want it done, right? And even if they do it the way you want to, like, if they do give you the parity or the access, there's still going to be like a question mark at the end of it. You're not going to like how it's portrayed. For example, like, just, certain stories, like, like, I would love right now, like, how there's all these superhero TV shows. They're overdoing it now. Like, they got Flash, they got Arrow, they got Gotham, they got, they're about to do an Atom spinoff. Like, they got all that, right? I would love to see, like, a TV show of, Motown, Stax Records, right? Like, that would be amazing to have, that type of, H Network pick up one and do something like that. However, black people don't even own the content to their own music. Like, they don't own the rights to those songs. Some white organization or company owns that. So it's like, stuff like that has to be taken into consideration, like owning your own brand and owning your own work. So it's like, that would be an amazing thing to see, is to relive, like, see an Otis Redding, TV show. Because, I think that era is beautiful and the music and stuff was cool back then. And I would love to see that on film, on TV. Like, that would be the first time ever done. Like, let's go back to the 60s and 70s as far as the music goes. And then you could throw the cultural elements in there as well, what was going on at the time. But I think that would be amazing. But again, we don't own the content to that. It can't be done from, just a bunch of those artist families and stuff going together getting it done. Like, it can't happen. But that's just an example. But that's my video, man. Create your own content. Stop begging the Jews and the whites in Hollywood to give you access, because they're not going to do it. They're just not that into you. Like, it's obviously they're not. And it's kind of pathetic to constantly, see these, I'm going to boycott this movie and boycott that movie. Like, again, I personally won't support it, but I'm not jumping on no bandwagon to boycott nothing. I'm just not going to simply watch it. It's that simple. Or I'm not going to give my money to see it. I'll see it for free, but I'm not going to go pay to see any of these movies. Michelle Rodriguez is right. It's just her part of saying that we stole the roles is inaccurate. Quite often, the roles are getting stolen the other way around when you have, white, like I said, the white Jake Gyllenhaal is playing the Prince of Persia, and, all those type of films. Those are wrong. I think they're bad. Again, you can't stop them from doing that. Again, they control it. They write the stories. They can do what they want. I say the same thing to Christians who complained about the movie Noah because it was turned into some, Save the Planet, Captain Planet Earth movie. The director's an atheist. What did you expect for him to do, right? If you're not telling that story yourself, it's going to be problematic. But that's my video. Michelle Rodriguez was on to something. Her delivery is probably off. No, we not stealing those white superhero roles. They're being given away out of political correctness, possibly because they see an opportunity and money to be made in it, or they're taking a risk to say we don't care what happens. Who knows? But I'm not buying the whole we stole the roles because we didn't. That's my video. Oh yeah, P.S. Michelle, if you watch this, I'm going to leave this video on your YouTube page to your response video to what you said the first time. I had an idea for a movie where you're like a lesbian and deep into that stuff, and like it's a romantic comedy, I guess, where I'm trying to win you out of your lesbianism. So yeah, if you want to do that movie, holla at your boy. I think it'll work, girl. Let's go.